Hi everyone, my name is Jing An. Welcome to our Curriculum Night 21-22. I am the Chinese teacher at IMS. I will be teaching the 8th grade Chinese class this year. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Jing An. In Chinese, it's An Jing because we put our family name first and our first name second. And An Jing in Chinese means to be quiet, to be silent. I was born and raised in China in the city of Nanjing. I lived there for 22 years. I went to university, the Nanjing Normal University there for my bachelor degree in teaching Chinese as a second language. After that, I moved to Shanghai and I went to the East China Normal University to get my first master degree, which is in teaching Chinese as second language and applied linguistic. After I graduated, I moved to United States. I went to the state of Arkansas. I taught 2 years in a high school in the city of Hot Springs. I taught 3 levels of Chinese there. After that 2 years, I moved to the Great Seattle area and I went to University of Washington for my second master degree in multicultural education. After I graduated from UW, I started teaching at IMS, and this is my 3rd year teaching IMS. You can see there is a picture of Nanjing here. It's a city with great history, and there's a picture of a church in Arkansas, and this is a picture of a Kirkland where I currently live. You can see this little guy in the middle. His name is Hachi. He's almost 3 years old now. He is bilingual, so he is going to be my teaching assistant of the year. So let's talk about our goals as a class. This year, we are doing standard-based grading for equity. So we will be using the word readiness standards. We will be focusing on 3 communication skills, essential skills. So the first one is interpersonal, which means students engage in conversations, provide and obtain information, express their feelings, their emotions, and exchange their opinions on familiar topics that we cover in class. And for interpretive, students will need to understand and comprehend written and spoken language on a variety of topics that we cover in class. And for presentational, they need to present information, concepts, and their ideas to an audience of both readers and listeners on the topics that we do in class. Also, we will be working on understand cultural perspectives and build critical thinking skills in our class. So I will be sharing my perspective as a female, as a Chinese, as an immigrant, as a teacher, and I will encourage students to share their perspectives, their cultural perspectives, their perspectives as a student. And we're also going to be talking about how cultural perspectives influence our cultural practices in our daily life. So our goal of the year 21-22, this year, I want to bring our students to a novice high or intermediate low level. So for novice high, students will be communicating, expressing themselves in unfamiliar topics using mostly phrases and words or simple sentences that they memorize. For intermediate low, students will use more simple sentences and they will do more spontaneous communication rather than memorized materials. This year, we will be using the same textbook, Discovering Chinese Pro. This is volume 1. We will also have volume 2. We will be focusing on 3 units. The first one is time and location. The second one is food. And the last one is sports and activity. Students will be assessed on the essential skills, interpersonal, interpretive, and presentational in all these 3 units. In our class, there are a few applications that I use, like Nearpod, Edpuzzle, and Quizlet. Also, I do a lot of choice board where students choose the tasks that they want to engage with to demonstrate their learning. Also, there will be opportunities for students to engage with cultural activities like For example, they will make their own Chinese seals. This is mine, and we were going to make this in class. They will each use their Chinese name and each make their own seals, and they can use it for calligraphy lessons we do in class or Chinese painting lessons later. Also, they all have Chinese names in my class. So you can see here, I have them make Chinese name tent, and they ask them to address each other, learn each other's Chinese name, and address each other in their Chinese by their Chinese names. Also, there are other activities like paper cutting, Chinese shadow puppet shows that we do in class. Hopefully, students can have a great experience this year with me since we are finally in person. Okay, so let's talk about grades. As I mentioned before, the essential skills are interpersonal, presentational, and interpretive. For interpersonal and presentational, students will be assessed on both writing and speaking. And for interpretive, students will be assessed on both listening and reading comprehension. I accept late work and makeup tests. Students can make an appointment with me to for makeup tests, and they need to do a reflection before they took the second test. So my expectation as a class is to be responsible, to be respectful, be brave, and be safe. I want to emphasize on the be brave part because we are learning a new language. We are immersing ourselves in a new culture here in our classroom. So sometimes students need to step out of their comfort zone and they need to challenge themselves. So I want to emphasize that to be brave in our classroom is a big thing. Also this year, since we are in person, we want to maximize the use of Chinese in our classroom. At the beginning of the year, we will still use a lot of English just to set up our norms and learn the directions, classroom directions in Chinese. After that, I hope that we can stay in Chinese, stay in the target language as long as we can, hopefully 80% of the time. So students can check their grade on Skyward. They also have all their materials, resources, assignments in Schoology. If they ever have a question, Schoology is a great way to reach me. Just send me a message on Schoology. For you guys, if you have any questions, any concerns, just feel free to reach me through email. Also, if you want to talk about some questions that you have, I'm open for Zoom meetings. Just schedule a meeting with me and I'm open to all questions. So following this presentation, I will be sending out this a Google form. And if you have any questions, any concerns, please feel free to fill out the form or send me an email. Let's all have a great school year this year. And 再见, which means bye bye, and 谢谢, which means thank you. 再见.